The first Valkyrie camera is on top yellow stairs, while you'll prone next to this pot right here and throw your Valkyrie camera behind the leaves. It won't destroy the leaves, but it still gives you a good enough camera to where you can see all of top yellow and into the room that yellow is adjacent to. If you want a camera that can see a little bit more though, then you can throw a camera onto this spotlight right here in reception. This camera, being that it is on a spotlight, blends in pretty well, and once you get on it, you can clearly see that it sees all of reception, the bathroom window, into bathroom, and a little bit into the yellow hallway. If you want a camera that can see more into sight though, then you definitely should consider putting a camera inside of the dresser right here. This camera is especially good for seeing if anybody hops in the yellow window with an Amaru or a Ying to get the fast plant right here. If you want a camera that's able to see more than just the plant though, then use this fourth camera, which you'll throw under the nightstand just like this. This camera can still see the exact same plant, but it can see the rest of sight as well as into the yellow corridor, into the room adjacent to that, and even into the reception hallway. One of the many places that camera doesn't cover though, is the closet and meeting room that has a wall into it. If you want a camera that can specifically watch this room in case they've just been pushing here a lot, you can throw a camera under the pot behind the leaves just like that. This camera, like I said, is hidden by leaves, so it's pretty hard to spot, but as you can see when you get on the camera, it still serves a lot of information. If you want a camera that can see into the closet but also into the sight, then throw the camera in the wall gap just like this. This camera, like I said, can see into closet, but it can also see a lot of the meeting site as well as the default plant here. Although the one thing is, it's a bit obvious. So personally, I like to put a camera on the right side of this pot right here. The reason this camera is so good is because it actually covers the default plant, which is here. But in order for them to see it, they have to actually cross all the way over here. And if they do that, their crosshair is going to be at the head holes, not at the pot. So it never really gets found, and it still does its job by giving you information on the plant, which you can get a nitro cell below with. The only place that camera can't see though is into this hallway leading up to the default plant. For that, just throw a Valkyrie camera in the bottom left corner of this window just like that. This camera can see the entire hallway, so if they're doing admin rushes, this is a really good camera to see when and if they come from admin. If you want an actual camera for admin though, make sure you break this glass here and throw a Valkyrie camera on top of this little circle light just like this. That Valkyrie camera kind of blends in with the light perfectly, while also providing you all of the information for admin and break room. It's really, really powerful. Now, the only place we really haven't covered top floor wise is reception, and if you want information on reception, you can easily throw a camera inside of the pillar pocket just like this. Because of the dark background, that camera blends in a lot, while also, like I said, seeing into reception and seeing the better part of Spiral as well. If you want a camera that can actually watch Spiral better though, then make sure you have at least 2 cameras as you can see in the bottom right. The reason for this is because you can actually use one camera to bounce off another camera with just like that. And if you do that, when you bounce cameras, they actually won't break the plants that they land on. Well, as typically it would break the plants whenever it lands on top of a plant, kinda like that. To abuse this, my next camera is going to be the first one that you use to bounce the other camera, and then you're going to, of course, bounce off of that camera into the plants just like that. Now, because the Valkyrie camera didn't break the plants, it's pretty hidden, but it still gives a good amount of information on anybody in the right hallway or anybody on bottom Spiral. If you want as well, you can kind of like shoot out the plants here to make your vision just a tad bit easier on what you can see, but you get the main idea. It's still pretty hidden because of how high up it is. The coolest part about this too is you can actually still pick up that first camera, so it's not like you're wasting 2 cameras. It's pretty efficient. If you want something that can watch this hallway a lot better than that camera though, then you can throw a camera actually at this bulb just like this. Now, when it comes to Valkyrie cameras, I've said this time and time again on my channel, light bulbs are your friend, because that Valkyrie camera honestly just looks like it's a part of the light. You wouldn't really think twice about it. It blends in super well. But typically, because light bulbs are super high up, you get a lot of information with these Valkyrie cameras, and as you can see, I can see most of the hallway here. A better camera than that one though, I think, is the camera for piano, where you'll get on top of the piano and you'll throw a Valkyrie camera on top of the spotlight. Like I said, light bulbs are your friend. Oh shit. Just like this. Now, a lot of the times it won't actually go on the light bulb, it'll go around it, but because the light bulb is so bright, it's extremely hard to see that Valkyrie camera. But as you can see, when you get on it, you can see pretty much all of piano, so it's still a really good camera. If you want a good Valkyrie camera for the room next to it though, then I actually recommend breaking out the back little square portion of this display case, just like that, so that it actually remains the integrity of these 2 glass panels here. If there's 2 glass panels here, typically they won't look for a Valkyrie camera there, because in their minds, you had to have actually broken the glass to get the Valkyrie camera in there in the first place. So if you throw a Valkyrie camera actually, like, let's say inside the display case, they're not gonna look at that. They're gonna think it's just part of the display, and because of this 3rd pane right here, it's actually really hard to see. But when you get on the camera, you get a lot of information into exposition, especially onto the default wall where people will try to get the plant down. The only thing that Valkyrie camera can't really see is inside of the lounge, so if you want a Valkyrie camera in here, you can literally just throw it below the couch. This is pretty useful if they're pushing this site, because you can see the majority of lounge when people push this door, but you also get a sound call for anybody on the other side of this wall that you can't really see. Now that we're on the mid floor though, let's talk about a camera that you can get in Visa. For this camera, make sure you throw it exactly in the middle of this window, just like that, and then you'll bounce your other Valkyrie camera off of that one. Then, pick up your other Valkyrie camera, and now you have a Valkyrie camera that sits pretty well in the plants, while also being able to watch slightly the doorway to the right and the doorway to the left. The only place that it really can't see is inside of tellers. So if you want a Valkyrie camera here, what I do is shoot out the box and throw a Valkyrie camera on the underside of this shelf just like that. Because most players are standing, they can't really see this camera. But as you can see, this camera can clearly see them. Not only can this camera see all of tellers, but it can also see the server stairs as well. Speaking of the server stairs, let's go down them, where we'll meet ourselves in server. Like I said, light bulbs are always your friend, so the next camera, of course, is going to go on a light bulb. As you can see, it just kind of looks like it is the light bulb, which is the beauty of these cameras. Once you get on the camera, you can clearly see all of server, even into the server hallway, but you can also see through 2 doorways that lead into the locker hallway as well. It's very nice. The only place it can't really see is into tunnel, which is where my next camera will be. You're going to put it towards the right side of these wires just like that. The reason you put it towards the right side of the wires is so people on the staircase can't actually see it whenever they walk down. So when they start looking this way, the camera can clearly see them. And then you, as a Valkyrie player, can just sit here with your cam on. Oh, they're down the stairs, right here. Okay, swing, boom, kill them for free. Moving on from the electrical hall into the server hall, a camera that's really good here is the one under the keyboard, just like that. This Valkyrie camera can clearly see all of the hallway, even into server a little bit, but also all the way into construction. It's very nice. The only room it can't see into is security. If you want a good camera for security, you can literally just put it above the shelf right here. This camera can see all of security, into construction, onto the rotate, and onto the door. Most people as well will have head holes on the right or left side of this wall. And because of that, this Valkyrie camera can see through these head holes actually onto the yellow door, so it's pretty nice. The only place it really can't see into is the locker hallway. For this, I actually have a pretty funny camera. All you're going to do is throw it on top of the hat, just like this. Now, this might seem really obvious, but the further and further away you go from it, it actually just looks like it's a black hat because the Valkyrie camera's black, so it just kind of looks like it turned the whole hat black. And I have ultra settings on, so it's going to look even more blurry for the average player. But if you get on the camera, you can clearly see that it sees most of everything, so it's a pretty good camera. Another camera that can see all of the locker hallway is the one that just goes on this sprinkler. It's a bit more obvious, but it gives a bit more information because it can see all of the locker hallway as well as the 90 hallway that leads into cafeteria. Now, typically people will have head holes here, so they can play behind pillar and contest the hallway we were just talking about. As a Valkyrie player, you can use this to your advantage by throwing a Valkyrie camera on the tool shelf just like this. Now, from a distance, it just looks like it's part of the tool shelf, if anything. And when you get on the camera, you can clearly see a large portion of garage, pillar, but more importantly, you can see all of the hallway that those previous 2 cams were meant to look at. So it's very, very nice. The only place it really can't see is into the yellow hallway, which is where you'll throw a Valkyrie camera on top of this fence just like this in the corner of the ceiling. It's pretty hidden because if anybody comes in the yellow door, they literally can't see it unless they swing out the yellow door and take a gunfight. Even people coming down yellow can't see it because of this white bar. But this Valkyrie camera can clearly see you, which is why it's so good. Now, out of all the Valkyrie cameras I've talked about, we have yet to talk about a Valkyrie camera for garage, which is really important. A Valkyrie camera that's pretty common is if you get on this red car right here and throw it inside of the lining of the tire, just like that. This Valkyrie camera, while being inside of a tire, still gives the most amount of information you'll get for this wall. But if you want a Valkyrie camera that can see more than just the wall, then you can put one under the red car just like that. Now, a lot of drones will see this, but people on the wall can't even shoot it unless they go prone in front of the wall, in which case they'll probably die. But as you can see when I get on this camera, it actually sees a lot. Not only does it see the wall here, but it sees anybody in garage trying to go for a plant in the default location, which is pretty important if you know that you're trying to let them have the site for maybe a retake. If you don't want to be just looking at people's feet though, then you can easily put a Valkyrie camera behind these head holes we talked about earlier on this filing cabinet. This Valkyrie camera can see the wall, parts of yellow door if you put it more to the left, and a large majority of garage, while also maintaining the information into security and on the security rotate. One area that we really haven't gone in depth over is construction. If you put a Valkyrie camera in between this wire spool and the white bucket, you can throw a Valkyrie camera there. Once you get on this camera, you can pretty clearly see anybody in the hallway, but if you turn it to the left, now you can see anybody in the server hallway. So it's pretty nice, and even if you destroy the bucket, it'll still have some cover while giving you even more information. Now, the only room we haven't talked about is cafeteria, where you'll throw a camera below this paper towel dispenser right here. Typically, people will also have head holes on this wall, and if you melee the 2 pots right here and really destroy the debris, if it would let me, hello? There you go, you just gotta move over it, kinda. But you get the idea, move around the debris until it looks right, and then you can see through the head holes and the majority of cafeteria, even through the security door. So it's a pretty good Valkyrie camera. With that out of the way though, that is completely it for this video. Check out this next video. My name's Alka, and I'll see y'all there. Later.